Hello, good morning and welcome to this exciting moment where we talk about business. It is Business 360 and my name is Blyden Ukem. In Business 360 today we'll look at some of the biggest stories in the world of business. We'll also talk about crisis hit Chinese real estate firm. We'll talk about the stock market, the forex market, as well as global commodity market, what the prices are and the impacts on gold. Let's begin with shares in crisis hit Chinese real estate, Evergrande. Shares in crisis hits Chinese real estate giant Evergrande have jumped as trading in the firm resumed after being suspended in Hong Kong. The company halted trading in its shares on Thursday as it confirmed that its billionaire founder was being investigated by authorities. Evergrande shares soared by more than 40% in early trading today, before settling at around 20% higher. It defaulted on its dates in 2021, triggering a property crisis in China. Still on the foreign scene. President Joe Biden implored members of Congress on Monday to pass a year-long budget agreement as well as continued funding for Ukraine, insisting the U.S. cannot under any circumstances allow America's support for Ukraine to be interrupted. The president said American aid to Ukraine will continue to flow for now as he tries to reassure allies of continued U.S. financial support towards the war. Let's hear from the president.
The spending bill to keep the government open, and that's good news for the American people because the government will not shut down and needless crisis has been averted, at least temporarily. Saving millions of Americans from needless pain. But the truth is, we shouldn't have gotten there in the first place. This agreement averts the immediate crisis, but it ends in just 44 days. And I strongly urge my Republican colleagues in the Congress not to wait 44 days. Don't waste time like you did this summer and pass a year-long budget agreement, honor the deal we made a few months ago when they were threatening to renege on our national debt. And we cannot, under any circumstances, allow American support for Ukraine to be interrupted. Too many lives are at stake, too many children, too many people. I fully expect the Speaker and the majority of the Republicans in Congress to keep their commitment to secure the passage of the support needed to help Ukraine as it defends itself against.
Away from that, regarding Ukraine war, two scientists won the Nobel Prize in Medicine on Monday for discoveries that enabled the development of mRNA vaccines against COVID-19. The award was given to Katalin Karikó, a professor at Sagan University in Hungary and an adjunct professor at the University of Pennsylvania, Drew Weissman, who performed his prize-winning research together with Karikó at the University of Pennsylvania. The technology could be used in the future to develop shots against other diseases. Let's find out more.
The Nobel Assembly at Karolinska Institutet has today decided to award the 2023 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine jointly to Katalin Karikó and Drew Weissman. From Massachusetts in the United States. He performed his prize-winning research together with Katalin Karikó at the University of Pennsylvania.
Me and Drew Weissman who received the Nobel Prize today, and I was like, I didn't know whether it is real, we suspected maybe some, prank.
I never expected in my entire life to get the Nobel Prize, and it's an incredible honor.
Now to the UK. A Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremiah Hunt, announced plans to freeze the expansion of the civil service, a move he said will save the UK public finances £1 billion next year, putting in place a plan to reduce its pre-pandemic levels. Hunt said that Britain employed 66,000 more civil servants now than before COVID-19 struck in 2020, and a plan to shrink the number of officials was aimed at cutting costs in the long term. Hunt spoke on Monday at a Tory party conference. Let's find out more.
Treasury too needs to change its focus from short-term cost control to long-term cost reduction. And we're going to start with the civil service. We have the best civil servants in the world, and they saved many lives in the pandemic by working night and day. But even after that pandemic's over, we still have 66,000 more civil servants than before. New policies should not always mean new people. So today I'm freezing the expansion of the civil service and putting in place a plan to reduce its numbers to pre-pandemic levels. This will save £1 billion next year.
Now to Africa. Credit Suisse and Mozambique have reached an out-of-court settlement over the hidden dates affair, with the parties mutually releasing each other from a liability according to UBS, which bought out its Swiss rival. The announcement comes as a trial was due to open in London's High Court on Monday into the scandal that plunged Mozambique, one of Africa's poorest countries, into deep crisis. In October 2021, Credit Suisse had notably been hit with $475 million in penalties following an agreement with US, UK and Swiss authorities to end prosecution over loans to Mozambique at the heart of a vast corruption scandal. In 2013, the bank had granted loans to state-owned companies intended to finance maritime surveillance, tuna fishing and shipyard projects, but which were partly diverted for bribes. The government hid the date from Parliament with loans from several banks, including Credit Suisse, estimated at around $2 billion. Meanwhile, the agreement states that Mozambique and Credit Suisse have amicably settled the legal proceedings initiated in London. Still in Africa, looking at Kenya. A Kenyan parliamentary panel called on the country's information technology regulator to shut down the operations of cryptocurrency project WorldCoin within the country until more stringent regulations are put in place. The government suspended the project in early August following privacy objections over its scanning of users' irises in exchange for a digital ID to create a new identity and financial network. WorldCoin was rolled out in various countries around the world by Tools for Humanity, a company co-founded by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. It has also come under scrutiny in Britain, Germany, and France. Now in Nigeria, the price of 12.5 kg of liquefied natural gas or cooking gas has increased to 12,500 naira as Nigeria celebrates her 63rd independence anniversary. According to a recent market survey, gas retailers had jacked up prices of 12.5 kg from 10,000 naira reported towards the end of last month to around 12,500 naira. Meanwhile, the president of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Olatunbosun Oladipo, warned that the price of 12.5 kg cooking gas could hit as high as 18,000 naira by December if the federal government did not checkmate the activities of the terminal owners, and quite concerning from that direction in Nigeria. Still in the country, Nigeria, the cost of automotive gas oil, AGO, popularly known as diesel, has continued to hover around 990 naira and 1,100 naira per litre, despite the removal of value-added tax VATs on the products, according to oil marketers. The federal government have waived a VAT on diesel for the next 6 months as part of a deal with organized labor to avert the planned nationwide indefinite strike action by workers in the country. Checks around filling stations across the country showed that diesel still sold for between 990 naira and 1,100 naira per litre today, according to marketers, though being aware of the decision of the government to remove VAT on diesel. They describe it as just an announcement for now. Quite concerning there. The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, has told Nigerians to pray that refineries in the country do not work. According to him, a litre of petrol in Nigeria could be the most expensive in the world. Oyedele spoke at the platform's Independence Anniversary event held in Lagos on Monday. He said inefficiencies in the management of the refineries might bring about a worse situation should Nigerian refineries produce petroleum gas. Quite concerning from there. But we'll go on a short break. When we return, Business 360 continues, where we talk about global economy and economic statistics all around the world. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It is Business 360, and my name is Blyden Okem. Let's look at economic statistics, global economy, and the impact of it around the world, beginning with Australia. The Reserve Bank of Australia kept its cash rate unchanged at 4.1% during the first meeting under new governor, Michelle Bullock, extending the rate pause for the fourth straight month. Tuesday's move was in line with market estimates, with the board again saying inflation had passed its peak, but it was still too high. The central bank warned that some further tightening may be needed to bring back inflation to the goal of 2 to 3% in late 2023. Now to Asian country Turkey. The annual inflation rate in Turkey accelerated for the third consecutive month to 61.5% in September 2023, from 58.9% in August, broadly in line with market forecast of 61.7%. This marked the highest level since December of the previous year, primarily due to increases in tax rates and the devaluation of the Turkish lira. Main upward pressure came from housing and utilities and furnishing household equipments. On the other hand, inflation eased for transportation and health. Food inflation also slowed to 68.9% from an 8-month high of 72.9%. Inflation is projected to be 65% by the end of 2023, 33% in 2024, 15.2% post-2025, and 8.5% at the end of 2026. Well, quickly let's move to the chart indicating Turkey's inflation rates. According to statistics from Turkey, inflation outing across 1 year was out, and by October 2022, inflation in Turkey stood at 85.51%, quite high, indicating a high cost of commodities in the country Turkey and a weakness in the currency lira. By January 2023, inflation dropped to 57.68% and further dropping to 43.684% in April 2023. By July, inflation rate in Turkey had begun to go up to 47.832% and now 61.53% after a slowdown. Inflation, which reflects the rising cost of commodity and the weakness of the currency, is getting higher in Turkey. Now in Africa, Egypt. Looking at the S&P Global Egypt PMI, the private sector performance in Egypt, the non-oil private sector performance. The S&P Global Egypt PMI, which is the Purchasers Managers Index, fell to 48.7 index level in September 2023, slipping further from 49.2 in the previous month. It was the 34th straight month of contraction in the non-oil private sector and the steepest since May, weighed down by the sharper declines in output and new orders as Egyptian non-oil business continued to indicate a low demand environment due to high inflation. Moreover, new work intakes have declined at a faster pace since May, though the drop was mild when compared to those seen at the start of the year. Well, quickly let's move to the chart also indicating non-oil private sector, the PMI in Egypt. The charts this morning. According to the statistical outcome in Egypt, the non-oil private sector performance had fallen, but previously was at October 2022, just slightly above 47 index level and continued to go up and went up to a peak point of above 48 by February and then dropping slightly this year. Now, let's talk about the commodity markets. Looking at the markets differently. Beginning with oil. Oil slides for fourth straight sessions. WTI crude futures fell towards $88 per barrel in the early hours of the morning, sliding for the fourth straight session as investors lightened holdings of risk assets amid a strong dollar and surging treasury yields. Analysts also noted that a key oil pipeline between Iraq and Turkey looked ready for operations this week, which could result in additional oil flows and ease global supply tightness. While looking at the business in the oil market, markets look ahead to an OPEC Plus meeting this week where it is expected to maintain previously announced output cuts. It could be concerning from that angle. But still looking at the commodity market, let's talk about gold prices. Gold has been struggling to find a firm footing in the market. Can the precious metal recover in the fourth quarter, or is the stage set for a poor finish to 2023? Bill Barish has more. The leader of Blue Line Futures has more. Let's find out.
Gold prices have been falling after the Federal Reserve's September 20th policy decision, where they telegraphed holding rates higher for longer. The yield of the U.S. 10-year surged above 4.6% to the highest level since October 2007. This has pressured gold to break below the monumental 1900 mark for the first time since March. Is there any reason to believe gold can recover in quarter four, or is the stage set for a poor finish to 2023? Only time will tell, but here are the three things I'm watching. First, the CME Fed Watch tool is currently signaling a 4% probability they hike 50 basis points before year end. While this equates to a higher likelihood of the Fed continuing to pause rate increases, the market is still pricing in a chance otherwise. Also, given historical trends, it's worth noting that the Fed usually cuts rates within 7 to 9 months after an ongoing pause. With that time frame in mind, the Fed Watch tool currently shows that the market expects rates to remain at 5.25% to 5.5% in May to 2024. So only time will tell if we are now indeed.
That is an outlook regarding gold in the market. Let's move quickly to the market, beginning with the metal market, and see what the prices would be for these metals, beginning with gold. The market this morning has shown different outlook for different commodities. First of all, gold. The current price for gold is $1,826 49 cents per ounce, dropping 0.87 points, a negative 0.05% decline, still struggling a bit, but the volatility level of this market is quite low. For silver, the current price for silver is $21 12 cents per ounce, downward by 0.059 points, a 0.28% appreciation. Copper slightly downward, $3.61 per pound. Steel price 3,670 Chinese yuan per ton is the price of steel, and steel is upward by 18 points, a 0.49% appreciation. Let's talk about the energy marketing. The price of crude oil. The volatility level in the market is quite low, but there are huge fall for coal in the market. Coal dropping 5.1 points, a negative 3.19% decline, the heaviest of the fall. For crude oil, let's talk about gold, the metal market. The metal market, looking at the price of gold and what the prices are in the morning market. Well, since we're in the energy market rather, crude oil price is at $89 per barrel, upward by 0.238 points. For Brent, a Brent price is at $90 per barrel, gaining 0.084 points, a 0.09% appreciation. And natural gas is downward slightly, gasoline downward slightly, and heating oil slightly downward this morning. Let's talk about industrial commodities, industrial market. For the industrial market, tin price is heavily downward, dropping a negative 5.45 percentage point downward. For tin price, the current price for tin is $23,944 per ton, falling by 1,380 points, a massive one there. But there are massive gain for bitumen gaining 42 points this morning. 3,973 Chinese yuan per ton is the price of bitumen. Cobalt, no significant difference for a fifth week in a row. A lead price is downward by 37.5 points this morning. Likewise, aluminium downward by 12.5 points. The agricultural commodities. The agricultural commodities have indicated soybeans price being downward by 6.75 points, $1,270 25 cents per bushel for soybeans. A wheat price has gained slightly 0.37 points, $565 35 cents per bushel. A 0.11 market is moving quite fast there, a 0.06% appreciation. Lumber price downward by 4 points, and palm oil gaining 5 points this morning. Let's quickly look at the foreign exchange market and what the price is for the foreign exchange market would be this morning. Beginning with FX update this morning, as Russian ruble depreciates by 2.07%. Our top currency losers this morning would be Russian ruble, a negative 2.07%, Australian dollar following suit, a negative 0.74%, and New Zealand dollar, a negative 0.6%. But for the gainers, the leader this morning has been the dollar index, a 0.26% increase. The dollar index extended gains to above 107, its strongest level since November last year, and tracking treasury yields higher, as hawkish comments from Fed officials continue to strengthen the expectations that interest rates will remain elevated for an extended period. Let's move to the market and see what the prices of these currency pairs would be, beginning with the euro against the US dollar, and afterwards Naira's perspective against the majors. The euro against the US dollar, our current price is at 1.04 point mark after dropping away from the 1.05 points. A slight gain this morning, not much, a 0.07% appreciation. For pounds against the US dollar, slight decline. Volatility level of this market is quite low, 1.20 point mark seal the price. Let's look at Naira's perspective against the majors. The US dollar against the Naira, 798 Naira equals 1 US dollar. Upward movement of 31.53 points in favor of the US dollar over the Naira. For the euro against the Naira, 810 Naira equals 1 euro. A downward momentum at the closure of yesterday's market, a negative 1.26 points decline for the euro, but in favor of the Naira. For the pound against the Naira, 934 Naira equal 1 pound at the closure of yesterday's market, a negative 1.94 points decline for the pound, but in favor of the Naira. Let's move quickly to the parallel market and see what the prices at the parallel market would be this morning. The black market. The dollar to Naira buying rate 1,008 Naira equals $1. Selling rate 999 Naira equals $1. For pounds to Naira, 1,270 Naira at the buying rate equals 1 pound, and selling rate 1,260 Naira. The euro to Naira, 1,065 Naira equals 1 euro at the buying rate, and selling rate 1,050 Naira equals 1 euro. And quickly, let's look at the digital coin and what the prices are this morning. Bitcoin is dropping 271 point. Market is moving quite fast. A negative 0.9% decline. 27,594 US dollar is the price of one Bitcoin. Ether also falling. Quite a struggle for the big coins in the market. Ether's price is 1,661 US dollar at the moment. But Binance is gaining 6 points this morning. Cardano, Solana, a Ripple, a little here, a little there. And quickly, let's look at the end to the global stock market, What the prices for the stock market are this morning, looking at the Asian equity market. The Asian equity market tumbled today. A strong dollar and surging treasury yields dented investor sentiments. Even further, investors also braced for Reserve Bank of Australia's outlook, the policy that came out today, and the decision where it is expected to hold rates steady at 4.1%. Shares in Australia, Japan and Hong Kong all declined, while markets in South Korea and mainland China remain shut for holidays. The Nigerian stock market reopens today after Nigeria's independence anniversary holiday. That would be it on Business 360 today. Thank you for being a part of it. My name is Biden Kim. Thank you for watching.